Yeah, this is where you'll start out. I've reused the particle effects from the tree fires, and I think to great effect. We've got a smoking, sizzling sound effect now. The smoke sound effect has to be there all of the time that the smoke particles are there, and never when they're not there. You just attach the audio stream to the smoke particles, and then it's just fine. So we have the player, and we want interactables. We're just going to add an area. Well, does it make sense to use an area 3D or just a raycast collider? That seems super weird. Why would it face positive Z? Everything in Godot faces negative Z. That Z in freedom. This is going to be interact ray area. Interact area will interact with, this is not on any layer, but it masks for layer 5. I have not set up any layer names, but we're going to call this interactable. This is like base level layer. I believe the player is level. Player has collision layer 3. 3 danger area. This is getting real specific. You probably don't want to create a layer for everything. What is the wildfire? Yeah, I have lots of things separated so that they don't interact with each other for performance. Does having more layers decrease performance? Maybe, actually. I don't know. And then layer 4 is wildfire. But I want to be looking at the interactable specifically. It's not on any layer, so nothing detects the interactable, and that I think makes sense, yeah. Unless, later on we want to have something that reacts to you looking at it when you're close up or something. But then we'd probably just use a raycast, but we're gonna, I feel like a raycast makes sense for this anyway, but whatever, this works. So we also have this really nice cabin interior now. I am super happy with this. Let's actually just take a minute to look at this level. All right, so I've had time to build this really nice cabin interior. There's something funky going on there. We'll fix that. Clearly that's just a Z fighting issue. See there, Yanks? I'm one of you guys, Z fighting. Anyway, yeah, this is where you'll start out. I've reused the particle effects from the tree fires, and I think to great effect. The way these windows work, I just took a screenshot of the game outside from where the cabin is on the outside, and then I stuck it as material on the window. And I think it looks pretty good. So here's what we want to have as interactables, right? So we need to stick an area on the phone, and we need to stick like an interactable area on the phone and on the door. And basically, start your game here. The phone rings. You get a warning. You gotta get out of the woods. Be careful of the trees, whatever. And then click on the door, and then that should load you into the other area outside the forest. Yeah, I gotta fix that. That's horrible. I think that fire looks really good. In a really weird kind of cartoon way. I think it looks great. Part of this is also unloading and loading new levels when you click on the door, and also UI, because if I pick up the phone, it's going to display text on the screen, so we need some kind of UI. Let's get the game manager working, and then I can show you what's happened with the level. So the game manager is going to be expecting a number of levels. It needs the cabin interior, and it needs just, have we already added? We've already added the scenes. We'll have to have like an interactable component. So every interactable component will have its own trigger behavior. Basically, I'll be expecting to override this for every interactable component there is, because the functionality will be so diverse. This is a place where I'm just going to go ahead and use inheritance. So specifically on this cabin within the level, this is where we'll put the interactable, and it will be interactable component. It inherits area 3D. Meaning it expects a collision shape. Collision shape will be a box, and the box will make up front of the door. And this will be cabin door, and we'll go ahead and we'll extend that, create that, extends that, and then we need to do, and we'll implement this, and I should be able to call load stage 1. I should have called this exterior cabin door interactable. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna copy this, gonna duplicate it, call that interior cabin door interactable, and this is going to load stage 2. And we want add another interactable, and this is an interactable component. I'm going to call this cabin door interactable, and it will take on interior cabin door interactable. So within the player script, on the physics process, we'll say if we put action just pressed, move interact, and not dead, and interactable. Not dead. I'm gonna get rid of that. So if you're dead, but you have an opportunity, because you can still be like flying through the air because you're getting hit by things. If you have the opportunity to clutch interact with something like a door, or like a health something or other before you hit the ground and complete your death animation, then you can do it. You can claw your way back to life. Trigger interactable. So basically, yeah, if we're looking at more than one interactable, and we shift our vision away from one interactable, but we still have another interactable in our line of sight, then whatever the first one is, if there's more than one of them, that one will just get assigned the interactable. And if none of that happens, then we set interactable equal to no. Don't do it this way. Use array cast. This is ridiculous because this also means that I might end up with my assigned interactable being one that's on the other side of an object I'm looking at. This is not going to be blocked by like doorways and walls and things. This is like a dumb way to do this, and I don't recommend it to anybody. But it's already set up, and so let's see if it works, I guess. Look at that. I can recapture my mouse now. I need to add a fire sound effect there. Wait, doesn't the fire already have a sound effect? Smoke has a sound effect, the fire doesn't have a sound effect. Okay, we'll add that later. Phone does not have an interactable. Give it a shot. Didn't work. Why didn't it work? Cabin interior needs to be on layer 5. Hey, there we go. Alright. Why didn't it unload the... So we have this nice peaceful music. So these actually sizzle properly now. Let me just turn down the game sounds. So yeah, it would always take the same amount of time for a tree to explode before because it would only take the distance that the player was. As soon as I entered the area of the tree, it wouldn't continue updating as the player got closer or anything like that. Yeah, so we need to introduce a level transition there. And the way to do it, it seems like it just freezes on whatever the last thing you saw was. So it might make sense to unload this scene and then load and sort of an extra level that's just a splash screen or a loading screen or something. And then from there, attempt to unload that and load into this. There we go. Oh no. Okay, so let's get another one going. Now, let's watch as these interact with each other. This looks really cool if you get a whole bunch of them going, but I don't think I have invincibility turned on. Once they collide, the one speeds up and the one stops so that they can merge with each other.
Ooh, that's spicy.
That took a lot longer to stop than I was expecting. Then I blow up a bunch of trees and then go back into the cabin.
Oh no! Oh no! Ooh, that's spicy. Oh no! That's spicy. Oh no!
No!
Ooh, that's spicy.
Wow, that gets going fast. Almost too fast. I think it's going so fast because of how many of them there were. Yeah, I think it gets going too fast. But that was also with a whole bunch of extra wildfires boosting it. Like, realistically, if you ended up in the scenario that I was just in, with that many explosions going off, like, you lost the level, right? So, it makes sense that the fire is going. I've changed the fire so that after it expands for a certain amount, it stops. And so you end up with, you know, some of these fires right on the edge of the level that just continue to exist. But I can use this to show how fast it'll expand. One thing that's new is this expanding fire burns all of the trees in its way. And for performance reasons, you get fire particle effects on the burnt trees, but only on 20% of them. Still quite a bit of cost to performance to these trees, though. I think because without all of the geometry of the leaves in the way, you see so many of these trees. You can still escape it if you get this thing going. I am thinking, yeah, it gets going really fast if you... Can I even catch it? Yeah, it's going faster than a running speed. I feel like the hopping has gotten easier. I did make a change, and I'm wondering if that broke it a little bit. So if you're on the floor for longer than it takes to maintain the boost, boosting is immediately set to false, and that is going to be our failsafe. So one thing I didn't do, I didn't add any footstep sounds. Wasn't really hyper aware of the lack of footsteps. You notice it here because there's nothing else going on, but as important as I felt like it was, I don't really feel like it's really that important. I might add them, but it's not a big deal. So what's left to do? Showing this to my wife, she said that it was tough to tell when the trees were going to explode. Like if you're just starting out the game. She said, like, if I do this, You start hearing the sizzling, but you don't see anything because all of the sizzling is kind of happening in your peripheral and behind you. So along with a health bar, I'm going to add like a danger meter. You know, maybe that won't indicate where the danger is, but you know, that there's some danger. You are supposed to indicate to the player what's going on, but you know, maybe just tell the player at the beginning of the game, like, beware of the trees or whatever, and then they'll have some reason to think that maybe the trees are the issue. When they started to explode, she said you can't really see the explosions very well. You can't see what's even happening because, again, a lot of the time they're happening in your peripheral or whatever, like you're running by, I'm running by a tree, I'm getting too close. I can actually run really close to these trees. Yeah, maybe I need to change something because I can actually just run through the whole game. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to run this close to the trees without them exploding, so that'll get tweaked. Oh, there goes one. But yeah, so that exploded behind me, right? And I may or may not notice this. It's not much to do about that, but having like a flash or something to make the explosion more, I guess, apparent might be okay. There will also have to be like a cooldown, like a bar to indicate your boost cooldown, because right now there's nothing to indicate it. What am I going to add next? I need menus. I need menus and I need UI elements. I think those are the things that are the most needed right now. So let's get a health bar is what I'm trying to do, and we want a level select screen. Now we're making health bars. So we got a health bar. I want a bar to indicate the countdown timer, so you know when you can boost. Also, I was thinking that the step sound effect that I haven't added to the game should be added to the game because it's functional. Because the boost hopping, you know, has a short time window. As soon as you land, you need to jump again in order to boost. It's really important that there be some kind of indication of when you actually landed. So I need to add some kind of footstep. Otherwise, that's just really bad game design. But let's get these bars working. Health bar, that looks good. Red to green. I mean, it doesn't look good. I don't think this color progression looks good. Now I need to figure out how these things work. Now, when you can just drag these around on the screen, that's great. But as soon as you put them inside the container, which I've done so that they can be laid out, I don't know how this works. One thing I need to be able to do is get the danger level when you're near a tree. Thing is, right now all of the trees have the same maximum danger. They'll all explode in the same amount of time. But we have different trees and these values can be set. So we could theoretically, if I tweak things, have different trees with different maximum amounts of danger before they explode. So then how do we deal with that? Well, the only trees that we're in any danger from are the ones that we registered with the game manager as being a current danger to us. So the thing that we want, I think, is we want the tree with the smallest value of the difference between the current danger and the maximum danger. So much of this is going to get cut out because I feel like I'm making really dumb mistakes as I go. So yeah, we're going to be bouncing around between different trees, and so rather than having the status bar immediately shift like a danger level of 2 to a danger level of 8, right? If that were ever to be a thing, we want it to kind of at least have a movement, not an immediate jump, but like a bit of a transition. So we're just going to do lerp between the danger smoothing value and whatever the new actual danger value is. But then health, I think basically want to have that be instant, or do we want to have that lerp really quickly too? Yeah, we will, why not? And then also the danger bar. Now, if you're like a new programmer and you're looking at lerp, and what lerp is basically if you have two numbers on a number line, and this is your percent distance between them. So if you have 0 here and 1 here, you get 0.5, it will give you exactly 0.5. If you have 0 here and 4 here, you get 0.5. Between 0 and 4, it will give you exactly 2. Put 0.25 in here, it will give you exactly 1. So like if you put in 1 and 5, you put in 0.25 here, it will give you 2. So that's 25% of the way between 1 and 5. And that's the way to think about this. Now, what you see people do a lot is put delta times something in here, and you look at that and you go like, what is that in terms of percent? What are they doing? Like, when I first saw this, I found it very hard to understand. And basically, this is just like, and it's like smoothing speed, right? This is just a fixed value. I'm multiplying by the amount of time that's passed since the last frame. What does that have to do with the percentage between these two values? And what that is just, we have the value we're on right now, and we have the value that we're trying to get to. So this is just some small number, right? Delta some small number that we can take to represent as progress. And then we can multiply it by a scaling factor, our smoothing speed, to just make more progress towards our target, right? Basically, once it gets there, like if you shoot past it, like you just stop at the value, it's fine. So that's why people use lerp this way. It's very convenient, it works very well. But if you're thinking of lerp as, well, yeah, percent distance between these two things, this can be kind of confusing. Moving speed 50. All right, let's see. It's gonna crash, but let's give it a try. Added a sound effect to the fireplace. Quite like the cabin. Very empty though. Add a chair. Maybe something over here. Those are really big. They look about right though. The health is full and the boost is full. Oh, that doesn't look great, but it's working. Can't really complain. All right, let's go check out the danger meter. That looks like crap. So the problem I'm seeing here is that Oh my god, my dogs are going crazy. You guys do not. Okay, so the problem is obviously that it does some sort of stepping, right? Like those are integer increments. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want it to be a smooth float value. I have also made some little icons for the meters, so you'll see those in the cabin area. I have thought about adding. Oh, that worked. It worked a little. Gotta fix the steps. Not sure what the issue is here. I think I got one walking step, yep, and then never again. And then I get one sprint step, and then never again. Why does it sound like this? Okay, my implementation here is absolutely terrible, and I think it's because I'm basing it on velocity and I'm not doing a bunch of logic around whether I'm in a walking state or a running state. Would be the way to do it. So I'd want to have logic based on if I'm, holding the sprint button or whatever. Okay, so it's getting in here on every frame. Okay, I don't know what the problem is, but maybe I just rework the logic because I did this because it was supposed to be simple, but if it breaks everything... Okay, what is the log step cooldown? 0.05, that's very small. Shouldn't be recording this because this is boring. I'm thinking of restructuring my logic to play these things when I'm like factually sprinting or walking rather than basing it on velocity, but it's bugging me because I just can't really understand why this isn't working the way it is. Okay, well, it's working now, and it broke. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna try something else. The thing is, I don't want to necessarily be like walking though. I just want to do it if I'm on the floor and moving, which is why I'm trying to do it using velocity, but it's just not working. I don't get it. We're on the floor and we're moving. Like, that's as simple as it gets. We are on the floor and moving. So the thing almost always has time left because as soon as you finish, it restarts itself. Is that what's happening? I think that's what's happening. Alright, I don't like the sound of those footsteps, but it is working properly now. Let's go play around with those footsteps. Those sound like crap. So in the cabin interior, footsteps, random pitch. Okay, the pitch up running sound sounds really stupid. This is being real nitpicky for like So okay, so now we're into the. Okay, so important point. We are now ending the second week of development on this. So I kind of want to get this out the door. Some of the stuff I don't want to spend nitpicking for too long, but I also don't want it to just be absolute garbage. So it needs to at least be good, decently good, right? Okay, so I don't like how slappy the sound is when you're walking. It sounds like you're punching the floor. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Let's move on. What now? What do we need? Let's get the phone. Oh, the phone is a bad one. Okay, so getting the phone to ring is easy. Getting it as an interactable object, that's easy too. I still need a crosshair. E to interact. I was going to put a prompt on the screen saying E to interact, but I think as long as I present something to the player, maybe at the start of the game or whatever, or along with the game that says here's what the controls are, then I don't need to display it on the screen, at least for like, a small kind of demo version of the game like this. What I do need to do is have something as kind of an indicator that it's ready to be clicked. So a crosshair that changes to a different crosshair when you're over an interactable, a dot that turns red, like Pokemon Snap, something like that. Right now there's nothing, right? There's nothing to indicate anything. So that sound effect adds so much. Okay, so there's that. I need to fix the roof. That actually, this tiny problem here really bothers me. I cannot leave that in there. What else? Let's go take a look. Oh, look at that. That actually looks really good. Okay, so I'm looking at my buoy up in the top left there, and I can move between trees and have it do its thing. Oh, ooh, that one didn't say there was danger, and then it exploded. I'm actually really bad at this game. Oh no. Okay, so I'm dead now. Alright, so it definitely looks like the danger meter has some bug with it, because that tree exploded and my danger meter did not get full. It's also kind of tough to tell that the danger meter is a burning tree. I can't really see that. The other two look fine. The heart doesn't look great, and that's just my pixel art being terrible, but you can tell that it's a heart, so it looks good enough. The burning tree does not look like a burning tree, but I think it has a certain charm. I might just leave it. I mean, you'll learn soon enough that that's what it's for. Or you won't, because it's bugged. But okay, I need grass footstep sounds, a phone, some kind of menu, and a police helicopter. And then credits, because I'm using some stuff that probably should be attributed. Power-ups, I don't know. Those might just not make it into the first build of this game, assuming that there will be more than one build of this game. Oh, it's tough to get up here. Yeah, you're gonna have to utilize some tricks. Someone will figure it out. Okay. So I want to put a police helicopter. The path comes up to here. So let's assume that they can get up here. And then where do I want to put the police helicopter? See, now there's a sound effect when you land, which really helps with the hopping. Okay, so let's assume that the person is kind of encouraged to come up here, although look at that, you'd have to come through maybe here. Comes through here, and then the police helicopter will be this way, right here. Okay, so we need UI, and the UI is not too tough. I was trying to do everything with like the layout stuff with boxes and containers and stuff, but if all you have is something simple like this, it's actually really easy to do. You just drag them into place. I don't know if I want to resize this window because, what is it, 1152 by 648? I just want to put it back to the same thing after. Okay, that stays exactly where it's supposed to. And it stays the same size, which actually is kind of bad, but I don't care. I'm going to put the helicopter here. This is like a high point. I don't like how slanted the road is, but who cares? And then I was thinking about having like a sound, like a person yelling like, hey, get over here, get in the helicopter. So yes, UI for text on the screen, which will be used for the story and for credits, and also... what? Plan was to have like a level select, and then the level select requires a different kind of UI where like you click on stuff and whatever. And I'm kind of wondering, is that something I want to bother with? Or maybe I have a level select, which is just something like the cabin, right? A tiny place you walk around in as the character, and there's just... yeah, like a level select that's basically a hub world, because then I don't have to figure out anything, right? Like you can just select the stuff as the player. The levels can be interactables, and then I don't have to figure out all of the UI stuff. Not that the UI is particularly complicated, but because I haven't done it, it's an extra thing to have to learn. When I already have interactables, or I can have interactables that just say this is the level, you walk up to it and you go into it, right? Like paintings in Super Mario 64. And so I might do it that way. It's not exactly what I had envisioned, but I think that might actually be the fastest thing for me to implement, just because I already know how to do it. And like, it's basically what the cabin already is. The cabin is almost like a level select. You start in one small room that loads quickly, and there's a door that leads to the first level. It even acts as a level select in that going back into the cabin completely reloads everything. So it basically is like a hub for a one level world. So I might do something like that. Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe like a hallway with windows or doors that have pictures on them. You interact with the door, and that loads into the level. And then like a locked door would be like a locked level, but right now there is only one level. And I was going to do difficulty and sliders for the game music and everything. But yeah, I think what's going to happen is I'm going to release this as one level, as a demo kind of thing. And then if there's interest, I will possibly expand this game. I have 3 levels in mind that I want to do. So I would clean up what I have a bit, add more to the UI, just polish things a little. And then I would add at least 2 more levels. I would like 4, but I only have 3 that are like definitely planned, so I would have to think of something for a 4th level. And yes, it would be easy to just grab new map data and then do basically the same thing in every level, but I actually do have 3 distinct levels, like three levels with distinct mechanics planned. Yeah, okay. So we're good. Now I need to put this away and go walk my dogs, and then I'll be back.